Ladies and gentlemen, there is a reason you often feel misunderstood. A reason people admire you from afar but hesitate to stand too close. You walk into a room and silence stretches just a bit longer. Eyes shift, the energy shifts, and you haven't even said a word. This is not by accident. Some of you were never meant to blend in because your presence is not meant to soothe but to awaken. An awakening is uncomfortable for those still asleep. Today I will reveal 13 signs that your aura is too powerful for most people to handle, not to flatter you, but to help you understand your journey and your solitude. Because once you see these signs in yourself, you'll stop apologizing for who you are and start walking your path with more purpose. Let's begin. Themselves without speaking. Your silence speaks, it reflects. Others sense your awareness and suddenly become aware of their own behavior, posture, words. This is not intimidation. It's energetic truth confronting illusion. Not because you're antisocial, but because your being craves depth, honesty, and meaning. Shallow words are like empty calories. They offer no nourishment to your spirit. That disrespects your energy. You'd rather walk alone than sit in noise that hides fear, ego, or distraction. Your aura demands alignment, not convenience. You feel when something is off, long before anything is said. Rooms, people, even thoughts carry frequencies. And you're tuned in beyond what logic can explain. Truths to you. Strangers tell you secrets. Friends cry in your presence. Why? Because your aura feels safe, like still water. Still water reflects, still water heals. Not because you're complicated, but because most communicate from the surface, while you exist from the center. It is the nature of high frequency to be misunderstood by the average vibration. That bothers people. You have nothing to prove. Your worth isn't built on approval. And that is a silent rebellion in a world addicted to validation. So what do? They see what adults have forgotten how to see. Energy, presence, safety. You're always a resting place for the innocent and the pure, even polite ones. Your being senses dishonesty not just in words, but in energy. And it physically disturbs your peace. Unaware. Your confidence, quiet and unwavering, threatens those who base theirs on masks. You don't have to expose them. Your authenticity already does. You understand that what belongs to you will find you. You don't force. You align. Your aura is magnetic, not desperate. Not argument. While others debate to be right, you listen to understand. You know, wisdom isn't loud, it's patient. Once sought. You've outgrown teachers, friends, and even versions of yourself. Your journey is now about embodying, not searching. You are the presence others seek, whether they know it or not. There are many things in life that speak without words. Wind through the trees, a mountain standing still, the rising sun over the horizon. But the most powerful of these silent languages is the energy of presence. And those who carry it do not always realize the strength they bear. When your presence is powerful, people feel it before they understand it. And for many, that unexplainable sensation is uncomfortable. This presence is not about being the loudest voice in the room or the one who draws attention with dramatic gestures. It's not about dominating through confidence, charisma, or external power. True presence is subtle, yet unshakably strong. It is the state of being deeply aligned within oneself, so completely rooted in your body, breath, and awareness that your very existence speaks. People notice. They can't always articulate what they notice, but they feel it. They feel more awake around you, or more cautious. They may become quiet, even a little uneasy. Not because you have done something wrong, but because your presence disturbs the noise inside them. You become a mirror. Not a distorted one that flatters or criticizes, but a clean mirror that reflects people as they are. And many are not ready to see themselves clearly. Your presence exposes what is hidden, not through confrontation, but through clarity. There is no need to correct or challenge. Simply by being, you show what is real. That, for most, is overwhelming. A powerful aura is like a still lake, calm, reflective, deep. It does not need to shout to prove its depth. Those who look into it are forced to see beyond the surface. When someone carries this stillness, this quiet inner alignment, it shakes the parts of others that are fragmented, and often the reaction is withdrawal. They may avoid eye contact, change the subject, even find excuses to leave. Not because of anything you've said, but because of who you are. People sense that with you, there is no mask, no performance. That's rare. Most people are used to others playing along, agreeing to small talk, indulging in distractions, feeding each other's egos. But when your presence doesn't participate in that performance, it breaks the script. Your authenticity creates space where falseness cannot survive. This alone is enough to make many people feel exposed, vulnerable, unprepared. There is also a stillness to powerful presence that is misunderstood. In a world that confuses busyness with importance and loudness with authority, those who are silent are often overlooked or judged. But silence, rooted in awareness, is not emptiness. It is depth. It is the absence of wasted movement, the restraint that comes from knowing one's center. You do not need to react quickly because your reactions are not fueled by insecurity. You do not need to be heard constantly because your words are chosen with care. You do not chase attention because your attention is already complete. This balance within you radiates outward. To those who are sensitive, it feels like peace. To those who are not, it feels like mystery. But whether they understand it or not, people respond. They may admire it, they may question it, they may even fear it. All of these are signs of power, not the power that controls, but the power that liberates. This kind of energy cannot be faked. It comes only from within, from long hours of self-observation, from walking through pain without turning it into bitterness, from letting go of needing to be accepted by the world. It is the kind of energy that does not fluctuate with external praise or criticism. It remains steady, like a mountain, like the ocean, like truth. And it is this steadiness that draws people in, even as it challenges them. Sometimes you may feel the weight of carrying such presence. It isolates, it confuses, you wonder why people pull away, you question your warmth, you try to be less intense. But understand this, it is not your responsibility to dilute your presence so that others can feel comfortable in their avoidance. It is not your role to soften truth so that illusion can survive longer. Your energy will not be for everyone. It is not supposed to be. Some will walk beside you with reverence. Others will keep their distance. Both are correct, because the energy of presence is not about pleasing. It is about being. It is a living reminder of how deep we can go if we choose to live awake, and that choice is not for the faint-hearted. So when you notice others become quiet around you, when they fidget, avoid eye contact, or seem confused by your calm, don't internalize it. Recognize it. You are not causing discomfort, you are revealing what is already there. Continue to embody your presence without apology. Walk slowly, speak mindfully, listen more than you speak, and above all, remain rooted in your own awareness. The world may not always understand your energy, but those who are ready will recognize it and feel something stir within them that they had forgotten. Your presence is not a performance, it is a gift. But it is also a challenge. Let it be both. There is a depth within you that cannot be easily explained. It is not something you gained from books or something that was taught to you by others. It came from direct experience, from the silence you've learned to embrace, the storms you've survived without complaint, the moments of raw honesty you've had to face when no one else was watching. This is spiritual intensity. Not a loud display, not an identity, but a quiet, steady fire that burns deep inside. And this fire, whether you recognize it or not, can intimidate others. People often associate power with strength, confidence, or the ability to influence outcomes. But spiritual power is something entirely different. It doesn't push. It doesn't control. It doesn't seek to conquer. It simply exists, firmly and unshakably. It is the kind of power that doesn't need to prove anything. And precisely because of that, it unsettles others. When someone has spiritual intensity, they carry a different vibration. Their words come from a place of clarity, not cleverness. Their eyes don't just look, they see. Their silence doesn't feel empty, it feels full, as if something ancient and knowing is resting behind it. This energy often speaks more loudly than any words. And for those who live their lives on the surface, who haven't yet faced themselves, who are still running from their own inner silence, this kind of presence is difficult to understand, and even harder to be around. Spiritual intensity makes people feel things they are not used to feeling. It pulls them inward, makes them reflect, challenges their masks. Most people have carefully built a self-preimage they feel safe behind. They are used to conversations that stay on the surface, used to roles they play in order to be liked or accepted. But in the presence of someone with deep inner alignment, those roles begin to crack. The energy doesn't attack them, it just reveals what they've been avoiding. That alone can feel threatening. You may have experienced this yourself. People might say you are too serious or too intense, even when you feel calm and centered. They may laugh nervously in your presence, or change the subject when things begin to feel too real. You may find that people are drawn to you, but not for long. They admire your presence, but can't stay in it for too long. They might even misinterpret your silence as judgment, when in truth you are simply listening. But this reaction isn't about you, it's about them. Your intensity highlights their discomfort, not because you are forcing anything, but because your depth brings to light what they are not yet ready to see within themselves. This is why spiritual strength is often lonely. It is not the kind of power that draws crowds or seeks applause. It is not glamorous or loud. It doesn't entertain, it transforms, and transformation is rarely comfortable. You may find that some people test you, challenge you, or try to diminish your insight. Again, this is not a reflection of your failure to connect. It's a response to the energy you carry. When you're not shaken by pettiness, when you don't engage in gossip, when your peace cannot be disturbed, others may feel their lack of control in your presence. This can cause resistance. Not because you are doing harm, but because you are not feeding the illusions they rely on. Spiritual intensity can make even close relationships difficult. You may outgrow dynamics where superficiality once felt acceptable. You may struggle to engage in conversations that once seemed normal, but now feel hollow. You are no longer able to pretend. You no longer wish to. And that authenticity, that unwavering alignment with truth, will not always be met with praise, but it will always guide you in the right direction. Your presence becomes a kind of invitation. Not everyone will accept it, but some will. And those few will feel seen in a way they've longed for but rarely experienced. They will recognize that your intensity is not judgment but clarity, not ego but essence. They will begin to lower their defenses, not because you ask them to, but because your grounded energy makes it safe for them to do so. And this is why you must never dull your light for the comfort of others. Do not make yourself smaller to be more acceptable. Do not second-guess your inner knowing just because others are not ready to receive it. Your intensity is not a fault, it is a gift. But it is a gift for those who are ready to grow, not for those who wish to remain asleep. Understand that your path is not meant to be walked in noise and approval. It is a quiet path, a path where truth leads and comfort follows only when it is earned. Your role is not to be liked, but to remain true, to stay rooted in what is real, even when others cannot yet recognize it. So when others pull away, when they avoid your gaze, when they feel uncertain in your presence, do not chase. Simply bow inward. Honor the fire within you. Keep walking. Keep listening. Keep being. Your energy will continue to speak, and one day, those who are ready will listen, not with their ears, but with their hearts. That is the power of your spiritual intensity, not to impress, not to overwhelm, but to awaken. There are times when the path becomes quiet, the world outside grows distant, and the people who once surrounded you seem to fade away. Conversations that once excited you no longer feel alive. You try to reach out, but something within you resists, because the connection you long for must now come from a different source. What you're experiencing is not rejection, it's not failure, it's not a flaw in your character or some mistake in how you relate to the world. It's a sign, a signal, one that speaks a quiet truth. Your energy no longer matches what once surrounded you. Isolation, when seen through the lens of ego, feels like abandonment. But when seen through the clarity of spiritual growth, it reveals something much more profound. It shows that you are being shifted into a new frequency, one where your presence can no longer exist in spaces built on pretense, noise, and surface-level comfort. The solitude you find yourself in is not punishment. It is preparation. Many people fear being alone. They fill the silence with distractions, people, opinions, and obligations. The moment stillness arises, they move. The moment discomfort appears, they run. But when your aura begins to grow stronger, when your internal world becomes more stable than the external one, life begins to strip away what no longer aligns. And the first experience of this shift often looks like isolation. Suddenly, you don't relate to the people around you in the same way. The jokes feel empty, the conversations feel forced. You no longer find pleasure in proving your worth or chasing approval. Instead, you crave silence, you crave meaning, and this craving, this yearning for something deeper, starts to pull you away from the crowd. This can feel disorienting. You may question yourself, why am I withdrawing? Why don't they understand me anymore? But these questions do not come from your soul. They come from the part of you still trying to hold on to what is being let go. Your soul already knows. It knows that solitude is not the absence of love. It is the space where true connection begins, not with others first, but with yourself. There is a strength that grows in isolation. It is not the strength of resistance or armor. It is the strength of surrender. You begin to see yourself more clearly. Without the noise of constant interaction, you become aware of your own inner rhythms. Your thoughts echo differently. Your emotions rise and fall like waves you're no longer trying to control. And in this space, something new is born, a deeper trust in your own presence. Isolation teaches you that peace is not found in another's words, but in your own breath. It shows you that companionship is meaningful, not because it fills the room, but because it respects your silence. You begin to understand that being alone is not the same as being lonely. In fact, many are surrounded by people, yet feel lonelier than ever, because true connection begins where honesty lives, and not everyone is ready to be honest with themselves. As your energy grows stronger, you'll notice that not everyone can meet you where you are. Some will drift away without explanation. Others may stay but feel more distant. And sometimes you'll be the one who walks away, not out of pride, but out of necessity. Not out of judgment, but out of alignment. Your being simply knows when it no longer fits into the frame it once occupied. This transition, though painful at times, is sacred. You are shedding layers that were never truly you. You are stepping out of roles that ask you to be less than you are. And while this may leave you feeling exposed or uncertain, it is only because your soul is stepping forward with more truth than ever before. The quiet around you is not emptiness, it is spaciousness. It is room being made for what is to come. There will come a time when this solitude no longer feels like isolation. It will feel like home. You will stop seeking comfort in noise. You will stop chasing belonging in places that do not see you. Instead, you will begin to attract what resonates with your truth. People will come, not because you searched for them, but because your energy became so clear that it became a beacon. The right ones will feel peace in your presence, not confusion. They will not need to be convinced, only welcomed. But until then, honor the space you are in. Let the silence shape you. Let the emptiness refine you. Do not rush to fill the void, because what is forming within it is not ordinary. It is sacred. You are becoming the kind of person who no longer needs the world to validate your path, because the path itself is speaking through your being. So if you're walking alone right now, if your phone is quiet, if your days are spent in reflection more than interaction, know that this is not the end of something, it is the beginning. Not everyone will walk this part of the journey with you, and that is how it must be. Your aura is evolving, your frequency is rising, and your solitude is not a sign of weakness. It is a signal. It is a calling. It is your soul asking you to come home. There is a quiet power that lives in those who no longer seek validation. It is not arrogance. It is not pride. It is simply a deep knowing, a calm and rooted acceptance of oneself that makes external approval unnecessary. When you embody this energy, you no longer chase recognition because you've already recognized yourself. You no longer need to be seen because you have seen deeply into your own nature. This is not something that happens suddenly. It arises after a long journey inward, after facing yourself without illusion and choosing to stand in truth, even when it's not applauded. Validation seeking is one of the oldest patterns in human behavior. From childhood, we learn to mold ourselves to fit the expectations of others, parents, teachers, peers, even strangers. We are praised when we meet those expectations and corrected or ignored when we don't. Over time, we begin to tie our worth to the reactions of the outside world. We look outward to know who we are. We try to become what others want us to be. But this way of living slowly drains the spirit. It creates anxiety, restlessness, and a constant need to prove something. Because if your sense of self depends on the changing opinions of others, you will never find peace. But when your aura grows powerful, something shifts. You begin to move away from needing applause. You become less interested in who agrees with you or who approves of your choices. This doesn't mean you become disconnected from others. It means you become more connected to your own truth. Your self-worth is no longer hanging in the air, waiting to be confirmed. It is grounded, lived, embodied. Others feel this. They may not know how to name it, but they sense it. Your energy feels unshakable, not because you are closed, but because you are centered. You listen without needing to be right. You speak without needing to convince. You walk into a room without needing to be noticed. And strangely, this very detachment from approval makes you magnetic. People are drawn to those who do not seek to impress. They sense freedom in it, a kind of calm they didn't know they craved. Still, this freedom can be misunderstood. Some will interpret your self-containment as coldness. They might call you distant or aloof, not realizing that you are simply no longer addicted to being liked. You don't perform anymore. You don't pretend. You show up as you are, whole, clear, and at peace with your own reflection. This can be unsettling to those who still depend on feedback to define themselves. The truth is, when you stop seeking validation, you change the way others feel around you. You no longer mirror their insecurities. You don't play into their need for approval either. Instead, you hold a steady presence, one that invites people to meet you on equal ground, not in a game of proving or pleasing. And this invitation is not always accepted. Some people thrive on the exchange of praise and attention. When you don't participate, they may feel unseen or rejected, even though you haven't rejected them. You've simply refused to play a role. To embody validation means to carry a quiet confidence. It's not loud or boastful. It doesn't demand recognition. It simply is. It comes from having made peace with your past, with your choices, with your flaws. It means you've stopped trying to earn your place and instead you've claimed it, not because you are better than anyone else, but because you've stopped doubting your own worth. This is not a destination. It is a practice. There will still be moments when the old patterns return, when the voice in your mind whispers, "Do they like you?" or "Was that good enough?" But now, instead of reacting, you observe, you breathe, you remember. You've already given yourself the approval that matters most. You don't need to grasp for it anymore. When you embody validation, you walk differently through the world. You are not easily swayed. You don't over-explain, you don't beg to be understood, you don't adjust your truth to make others comfortable, and yet you remain kind, compassionate, present. Because you no longer need people to agree with you in order to be at peace with them. You've learned that disagreement is not rejection, and misunderstanding is not a threat. You simply hold your center and allow others to hold theirs. This kind of energy cannot be faked. It is cultivated over time. It is shaped by silence, reflection, and honest self-inquiry. It is the result of sitting with your fears instead of running from them, of listening to your inner voice until it becomes louder than the world's. And when you reach this point, your presence speaks before you do. People feel that you are not here to compete. You are not here to impress. You are here to be. Fully, authentically, unapologetically. And that in itself is powerful. Because in a world addicted to attention, the one who no longer needs it stands free. The one who validates themselves becomes untouchable. Not because they are above others, but because they no longer belong to the game of seeking and pleasing. They belong to truth. They belong to presence. And presence, when it no longer needs approval, becomes light. That light shines quietly, but those with open eyes cannot miss it. As you grow, something unexpected begins to happen. People around you, those you've known for years, those you've only just met, sometimes even those you love, begin to respond to you in ways that confuse you. They become distant, cold, judgmental, or perhaps overly defensive, irritable, suspicious. And if you are not deeply rooted in your awareness, you may begin to question yourself. What did I do wrong? Why do they seem uncomfortable around me? Why is there so much tension when I've done nothing to cause it? But in truth, what you are witnessing is not a reflection of you, it is a projection of them. As your inner world becomes clear, as your energy becomes more grounded, as you start walking with calm conviction rather than doubt, others feel this change, even if you never speak of it. And for those who have not yet faced themselves, your presence acts like a mirror, not a mirror that flatters or distorts, but one that reveals. It shows people where they have been hiding from themselves, and for many, this is deeply uncomfortable. People do not always react to who you are, they react to what they feel in your presence. And when your presence is rooted in truth, simplicity, and strength, those who are still entangled in their own insecurity may find it unbearable. They may not understand it consciously, they may not say it out loud, but deep within, your energy triggers them, not because of harm you've done, but because of the shadows they have not yet made peace with. It is much easier to label someone than to look inward, so people project. They assign their own inner discomfort to you. They might say you are too intense, too quiet, too serious, too distant, too proud. These are not accurate reflections of your character. They are veils thrown over your presence to avoid seeing what lies beneath their own. Your calm may expose their anxiety. Your discipline may reveal their lack of direction. Your peace may awaken their restlessness. And instead of asking themselves why, they point outward. This is one of the silent burdens of spiritual power, not the power of influence or charisma, but the quiet power of inner truth. It creates a field around you, one that others cannot ignore. But that field does not only bring comfort, it also brings clarity. And clarity is often met with resistance, especially by those who are not ready for it. To walk this path with peace, you must understand that not every reaction is yours to carry. When someone misunderstands you, judges you, avoids you, or criticizes you for reasons that feel unclear, pause. Do not immediately assume the fault is yours. Instead, see through the surface. Ask yourself, is this energy truly mine or is it theirs? More often than not, it is theirs. And the moment you recognize this, you return to your center. Remaining centered in the face of projection is a discipline. It is easy to get pulled into the emotional storms of others, especially when they accuse you or treat you unfairly. But every time you react from hurt or confusion, you abandon yourself, you fall into their illusion. Instead, stay still, observe, understand that their words are not about you, they are about the parts of themselves they have not yet healed. This is not permission to look down on others, it is an invitation to hold compassion, even when it's hard. People are not cruel because they are evil. They are cruel because they are afraid, because they are carrying pain they've never spoken of, because your light shows them where they are still in darkness. And while it is never your duty to dim your light for their comfort, it is always within your power to respond with grace. Some people will leave, others will gossip, judge, resist. Let them. You are not here to manage the reactions of others. You are here to walk your path, to protect your peace, and to keep your energy clean. Not everyone will understand you, and that is not a tragedy. That is a sign that you are stepping into a more authentic way of being, one that no longer bends to please or shrinks to fit in. It is natural to want to be seen, understood, accepted, but when that desire begins to silence your truth or compromise your integrity, it becomes a cage. Let go of the need to be approved of. Let go of the fear of being misunderstood. Let others carry their own projections. It is not your job to explain yourself to those who only wish to see you through the lens of their pain. In time, those who are ready will come. They will not project onto you, but reflect with you. They will feel calm in your presence, not conflict. They will not need to tear you down because they will have done the work to build themselves up. Until then, walk with quiet certainty. Let your energy speak. Let your actions reveal your character. And let the projections of others fall away like leaves in the wind. There is no need to chase validation. No need to correct every misunderstanding. When your aura is strong, it will disturb the shadows of those still learning to stand in their own light. That is not your burden to carry. Your task is simple: stay true, stay kind, stay free. There is a silent pressure in this world to remain average, not in skill or talent necessarily, but in thought, in ambition, in energy. Society is built to reward sameness, to move in line, to speak in acceptable tones, to avoid the sharp edges of truth. The moment you begin to rise, not just in success but in presence, you challenge that unspoken agreement. Your discipline confronts their comfort. Your clarity reveals their confusion. Your movement forward stirs those who've chosen to remain still. Without trying, you become a mirror that disrupts the illusion of normalcy, and this alone can make others uneasy. Mediocrity is a state many settle into, not because they lack potential, but because they fear what it takes to break free. It is not weakness, it is weariness. To rise requires responsibility. It requires sacrifice, effort, a willingness to confront your own patterns and blind spots. Most people avoid this because comfort is seductive. It whispers, stay here. You don't have to try so hard. Why bother? And the majority listen. They build lives that feel manageable, predictable, safe, but they also carry a silent resentment for those who choose differently, because deep down they know they could do more. And when someone walks in who is doing more, who radiates clarity, who speaks truthfully, who holds high standards, it becomes a disturbance. When your aura grows powerful, you don't need to say much. Just your presence unsettles the norm. You don't participate in gossip and they call you arrogant. You don't lower your standards and they call you rigid. You don't follow the herd and they call you difficult. But all you've done is refuse to betray your path for the sake of fitting in. You've chosen to be awake in a world that prefers sleep. This is not about superiority. It is not about believing yourself to be above others. It is about alignment. When your inner world becomes sharp and focused, the external world that thrives on distraction and delay will naturally feel tension around you. You become a symbol of what others have denied in themselves: their own strength, their own calling, their own higher potential. That reflection is not always welcome. This is why, as you grow, you may notice resistance, not from enemies but from familiar faces. Friends who once cheered you on may grow silent. Colleagues may begin to distance themselves. Even family may offer subtle remarks meant to pull you back to who you used to be. Not because they wish you harm, but because your evolution confronts their comfort zone. They don't want to feel left behind, and your growth forces them to look at where they've stopped moving. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, internally, spiritually, energetically, you automatically raise the vibration of the space you occupy. And not everyone is prepared for that shift. Mediocrity resists accountability. It resists excellence. It resists the discomfort of transformation. But your presence makes those things impossible to ignore. You may be labeled intense, too serious, too focused, but what they're really saying is, your commitment makes me uncomfortable. Let them say it. Let them feel it. It's not your job to tone down your fire to warm those who refuse to light their own. Continue to show up with intention. Speak when you have something real to say. Move with discipline even when no one is watching. Stay humble, but never shrink. You are not here to conform to the smallness of others. You are here to remind them of what's possible, even if they reject that reminder at first. Your energy alone can wake people up. But awakening is not always pleasant. It means seeing the truth of where you are. It means recognizing how much time has been lost to avoidance. It means letting go of identities that were built around comfort, not courage. This is hard, and not everyone is ready. So understand this: when people resist you, it may have nothing to do with dislike or disagreement. It may simply be that your path exposes the stillness of theirs. Your movement, your growth, your integrity, all of it shines light on what they've kept in the dark. And until they are ready to face that, they will push you away. Let them. Don't water yourself down to gain temporary belonging. Don't dim your discipline to make others feel better about their procrastination. Don't laugh at shallow jokes or entertain surface talk just to feel included. There is a deeper life calling you, one that few choose, one that requires solitude, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to becoming all that you are meant to be. This kind of life doesn't seek comfort, it seeks alignment. It doesn't chase applause, it seeks mastery. It doesn't fear rejection, it understands that rejection is often redirection. You are not meant to fit into every room. You are meant to transform the ones that are ready. So continue to walk with quiet strength. Let your consistency speak. Let your silence teach. Let your presence challenge those who still sleep. Some will resent you. Others will awaken because of you. And those who do, those who feel called to rise, will meet you on the path, not with envy, but with gratitude. Because you reminded them that mediocrity is a choice, and so is greatness. If these signs resonate, know this. Your aura is a gift, a light. But not everyone is ready for light. Some will resist, some will misunderstand, and some will walk away. Let them. Your path is not to dim so others feel comfortable. Your path is to remain grounded, present, and unshaken, so that when they are ready, your light will guide them. Walk on, not to be seen, but to be felt. And in your presence, let others remember who they truly are. You chose, and now by your very being you give others permission to choose too.